Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bobcat Corner. This is episode number 75. And once again, I'm joined by a special guest here for this special edition. We're covering the Frisco Bowl, which is going to be taking place on Tuesday here on the December 23rd. And allow him to introduce himself.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on, Stephen. Good to be back on Bobcat Corner. You were on my show on Tuesday, and we figured it was only fair to definitely talk to each other. Really fun content you make. I cover UNLV football, UNLV basketball, the Let's Run podcast. We had a great conversation on Tuesday. I'm happy to continue that one, and really grateful that you had me on. Hopefully, the Ohio fans can get to know this UNLV football team ahead of this matchup.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show today, Jason. And yeah, good stuff that you put out there for your Let's Run podcast. By the way, I'm always enjoying listening to UNLV sports content. And so, speaking of UNLV, let's just get started with the topics here. Let's start with the UNLV Rebels, how they run their offense and defense, and basically starting with their head coach Dan Mullen. Uh, in your opinion, Jason, because you watch the UNLV Rebels play, what is their philosophy? What is it that they like to do on offense and defense? However you want to explain that.
Sure, yeah. So UNLV is a run first team, really. Rushing wise, I think UNLV ranked 17th or 18th nationally in total in kind of rushing attack per game. So a very potent rushing attack, which is interesting because you see Anthony Calandria, kind of our star quarterback, who was also a great thrower of the football. But really, it's a run first team. They definitely do like kind of the run spread option, the spread offense. Really, Dan Mullen's kind of a disciple of that. Actually, you could call him one of the curators of that, to be honest. He's definitely one of the guys back when Urban Meyer was at Utah and then obviously at Florida that helped pioneer that offense. And basically, they spread you out, they run the ball. There's a lot of kind of fan outs by the quarterback to get the quarterback on the move to make short passes upfield. And then just the occasional, deep threat, the occasional go route. And so it's really a potent rushing attack overall. The team is, led in the rushing attack by Jet Thomas. Jet Thomas Jr. This is his third year with the Rebels. I believe he's going to be back for his senior year. Just an outstanding season, 985 yards on the ground. But he was really not, the only guy that got a ton of rushing yards. Kevon Lee, 433. He's more of our power back. We'll bring him in short yardage situations. Jet Thomas averaged 7.2 yards per attempt, per rushing attempt, which is one of the best in the country. Kevon Lee averaged 4.5. Again, he's kind of our short yardage down back. Another guy you might see get carries is Jalen Glover. He's a junior running back, transfer from the University of Utah. Really kind of potent rushing attack. And then, of course, Anthony Calandria, our quarterback, also runs it for a ton. 5.3 yards per carry, 621 yards on the team, on the season. And really, we try and suck you in with the rushing attack to open up the ball downfield, where we've got a couple of really solid receivers. Jaden Bradley, 869 yards on the season, 16.1 average per reception. Really solid receiver. Troy O'Meara, those are kind of our top two on the season. 54 receptions for Jaden and 30 for Troy. A couple of other good guys we really like are Dejon Reynolds, but primarily it's a rushed first team. And it's been an outstanding rushing offense. It's just been an outstanding offense all season, even if it hasn't been perfect. And then occasionally, obviously, we have Nick Elksness, who's kind of a senior tight end who started out his career with Dan Mullen at Florida. So really balanced offense, running first, but they're capable of attacking in every phase of the offensive side of the football. And I'd say it's a scary offense to play. It's an offense that if you can't keep them off the field, they are going to score on you, and that's how they've been all season, basically, no matter who they've played.
Yep. So, adding to that, what is your philosophy, the UNLV Rebels? What is their philosophy on defense?
It is try and let the other team score as quickly as possible so that your offense can get the ball back. I'm actually kind of not kidding about that. There were several games this season where the UNLV defense is very aggressive on early downs to start drives. They're either forcing a 3-and-out or the other team is breaking a 75-yard touchdown run. There's really not a lot of in between. You don't see a lot of drawn out drives by this UNLV defense. They're not great at keeping the ball in front of them. However, they do at times get the other team off the field, in early down, kind of in early in drives. Once a team's kind of rolling on the defense, that they lose momentum, they're not quite as strong. Tackling's not really a strength. Line play is not a strength. The secondary is not a strength. They really have only one strength, and they're pretty decent at getting interceptions. Amaris Brown, several guys have been excellent at picking off opposing quarterbacks, and so if your quarterback makes a bad pass, their Rebel defense can punish you for that. But it's a very unbalanced defense, and the philosophy is mostly kind of really safe zone coverages, and the players aren't very good at executing that. So you will consistently see guys blowing coverages and getting behind the UNLV defense. But early on, especially at the start of your drives, they'll bring some heat, they'll bring some pressure. Guys like Chief Borders, Lucas Conti, like there are some guys that can get to the quarterback. But it does not happen in sustained drives. It's really just they got one punch to throw, and if they miss, which they often do, you're probably going to score pretty easily.
Yeah. So that's what you basically described on both offense and defense for UNLV. That's basically what I was kind of thinking of when you talk about this matchup between Ohio and UNLV. I'm way more concerned about what UNLV can do to us when they're on offense compared to when it's the other way around, Ohio versus UNLV on their defense. So that's very interesting. I do expect this game to be like a high scoring affair here. So uh, moving on, moving on to the next topic. Um, I'm pretty sure that you've had time, Jason, to watch some film, some tape on Ohio Bobcats games on the players. So, in your opinion, doesn't have to be like a long list, but in your opinion, what are some of when it comes to Ohio Bobcats players? What are some players that you think could give UNLV the most trouble, most problems in the Frisco Bowl?
Yeah, so I'll give a pretty detailed answer here because I feel like I have looked at Ohio decently well, and I think our previous conversation definitely clued me into some of those names, and so I was kind of able to go back this week and see some of the tape. Specifically, I watched like the highlights of like the UMass game. Not that that was like a particularly interesting game, but it was kind of fun. I watched the Northern Illinois game, the highlights of that one. And then I watched obviously the best game of the season, probably when you guys were riding high, was that West Virginia game. West
Yep.
Virginia ended up being not a bad team this year in the Big 12. I mean, obviously it was Rodriguez's first year back there, but really the guy that stood out to me, and this shouldn't be a surprise, it's Bangura, the running back. UNLV's rushing defense has been uh, as porous as SpongeBob SquarePants, and we've given up like 11 yards per carry, for a lot of this season. And I can just see this guy rushing for 200 plus yards on this UNLV rushing defense. He's the boogeyman that's going to keep this defense kind of struggling. And I think that kind of good gap integrity, which is something we've struggled with all year, especially we in our first game of the season we gave up like 200 plus rushing yards to Idaho State. If that tells you how bad it's been, I think a guy like Bangura can absolutely be a threat, not just for kind of those 10, 15-yard chunk plays, but for 60 or 70-yard explosive run plays downfield. I didn't see him as like one of those lightning backs. He seemed kind of more like an all-around back to me. And I think that that's a very good and very strong indicator of when you're watching this game. If you have 100 rushing yards after the end of the halfway through the first half, or halfway through the second quarter, it's going to be a long night for the UNLV defense, and UNLV is probably going to have to score something like 45 points to win this game, which is something they can absolutely do. By the way, I mean this UNLV offense is very capable of putting up 50 points, but Bangura is kind of player number one that stands out to me. Obviously, you have to bring up the quarterback every time you talk about a team. I thought Navarro was especially early on in the season. Later in the season, obviously, I know that sometimes there's weather issues and kind of weird stadiums in the MAC where you don't necessarily need a guy to throw for 315 yards like he did versus Eastern Michigan. But I think he's just a solid quarterback. He's not spectacular. He seems to have a very good connection with Hendricks, the receiver. Chase Hendricks, who, man, is a junior, and I hope he doesn't transfer. I kind of looked at a lot of these guys. I was like, man, I mean, I bet you both of our teams are going to get hammered by the transfer portal. But I think that Navarro is definitely a threat. And he's just a solid quarterback. He's one of those guys that you look at. I mean, I don't expect him to throw for 400 yards and do like one of those crazy Patrick Mahomes prime, but he's a guy that he's going to do enough that if Ohio's defense and the rest of their offense, especially the rushing attack, if they play well, they can absolutely win. And the other thing about it is like this Ohio program, I know that there's some turmoil going on there, but like this Ohio program has just been outstanding in bowl games over the last 6 or 7 years, especially including against some Mountain West teams that have made it to bowl games. Ohio's done really well. And so, a guy like Navarro, who is a leader, I feel like he's pretty well liked. I don't know if that impression of him from me is correct to you, but I feel like he's probably pretty well liked among the Ohio fans, even if he's imperfect. He's kind of like old reliable. He's the Ford F-150 with 20,000 mile or 80,000 miles on it that isn't brand new, but you still love it anyway because it gets the job done. Those were kind of the biggest guys that I see. On the defensive side of the football, I'm really not sure. I mean, all I can really do because I didn't have time to, obviously the offensive highlights are the ones that stick out more for you when you're doing tape review on players. But Jalen Thomason, Adonis Williams Jr., these are guys we talked about in our preview. I think this Ohio defense is a little flawed. I mean, it's not a great defense, but it's certainly good enough that if your team doesn't play with an attention to detail, can definitely sting you. So I don't expect the Ohio defense to like shut down this UNLV offense by any means, but it's really kind of the offense that worries me more. And I think playing in a dome in Dallas, I think you could be in for a really fun kind of duel, especially against an Ohio program that does incredibly well in bowl games.
Yeah. So, yeah, your description of Park Navarro is accurate because I've always known him to be a competitive player. He has like just that fire and that intensity, even when things are not going well for him. He likes to, step it up in key situations and key games. And this is no different. This Frisco Bowl is going to be no different, in my opinion. So yeah, and what we like to do, we like to use the RPO. We like to use a play fake so that either Parker Navarro can get on the run or he can pass it to guys like Chase Hendricks or Rodney Harris II, or even tight ends like Mason Williams. So yeah, it is accurate what you just said about him. So yeah, moving on to another topic would be bowl games in general. We've had overall, we've had as like a community of college football fans, we've talked about, oh, are bowl games, are they still meaningful? Do they still have value to them? Uh, in your opinion, Jason, what do you think could be done going forward to possibly like improve the bowl game experience? Because this has been like a hot topic in like recent years. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the best way for bowl games to maintain relevance, and I'm talking non-college football playoff bowl games, obviously, because I know the Sugar Bowl, the Peach Bowl, whatever. I mean, that's all. That is what it is. But in terms of like non-college football playoff bowl games, the path forward is wackiness. It's not a normal football game. It's not like this game against Ohio and UNLV is not going to be the exact same. It's not going to be super similar to how a game even might be if these teams had met in the regular season. And so, what weirdness can we add to bowl? I think that the previous game that is actually being played in the exact same place that we're playing on Tuesday, or is it two? Yes, Tuesday. The Xbox Bowl was a perfect example of kind of the wackiness. Master Chief finished the fight. Halo 3 was out there handing trophies out, riding a warthog onto the field. That was great. The Pop Tarts Bowl, probably the best example of this. I am a BYU fan. Actually, I know some Rebel fans will not like this, but I went to BYU. I also went to UNLV, but I had my BYU gear on. Like the Pop Tarts Bowl, an incredible example of adding wackiness and weirdness. Like we're playing in a bowl game sponsored by coffee. How boring is that? I mean, like get a coffee bean. Maybe get the Oompa Loompas, with their coffee with their beans. I don't know. Like do the Willy Wonka Frisco Bowl sponsor. Have a chocolate factory inside the stadium. Be weird, and I wouldn't even stop it just with like weird kooky bowl. I would like implement weird rule changes to the games. I would like shorten the field, make it like a half court game. I don't know. I mean, I haven't even thought of these before, but make it so every team has to go for two every single time they score a touchdown. Just eliminate the extra point altogether. Something like that. Make it so, I don't know, make it first to 50. I don't know. First team to score 30 points wins. Like, do something super out of the box, super weird. That one probably wouldn't work. The first to 30 probably wouldn't work. But like, make field goals over 50 yards worth 9 points. I don't know. Like, I can think of dozens of ideas. Go on ChatGPT, type in weird rule changes you could use for college football games, and then sit in a conference room and throw stuff out. Because that's the only way these games are going to have any relevance is if they're marketable. And the marketability is not always going to be the teams. It has to be some weird, um, intricate detail. And so that would be my biggest suggestion. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, all kidding aside, I definitely see where you're coming from when it comes to making these games marketable because I've had these like ideas for like rule changes in the past. Like when it comes to like how many teams are even playing in a single bowl game, like you can even have an idea where you can have like three teams playing at once. Like you'd have to like rearrange it so that'd be like one team facing this team for like one period of time, then the next period to bring out the third team. Something like that. Kind of silly and wonky like that, but this is like a bowl game kind of situation. It's supposed to be fun. Bowl games are supposed to be fun. You're supposed to like make it entertaining for people, make it so that people can watch the game. So that's basically what I have to say about that. So
Three teams would be interesting. Like, what if you had like every time a team scores, they have to switch out to another team. You have a three team. Like, I can think there are dozens of ideas to fix this system. And, I would even say, like, what if you have another tournament? Like, what if you have a second tournament below the college football playoff? Obviously, I think
exactly.
maybe the college football playoff would have to expand a little bit, but ultimately, if you ask me what I think needs to happen, the Army Navy game needs to go in August. They need to move that. It can't have its own weekend in December. And I get they do that because it's historic and the viewership of it is really good, so that's never going to happen. But then other bowl games need to move into that weekend. That weekend needs to be have like a tournament, have like two games for bowl teams that didn't play in their conference championship, and or do like a round robin one where it's like point differential between 10 teams. You have five different bowl games and they're all kind of combined, and you have point differential between the teams deciding on who plays in the championship. I just think that if they keep doing what they're doing, you're going to see, the LA Bowl's already gone. That was a good bowl game at SoFi Stadium, and it's gone now. So what does the future actually look like? I'm really not sure. And I kind of wish that we played in a game. They had the Snoop Dogg Bowl and the Gronk Bowl. I wish that our bowl was a bit more interesting than the Coffee Bowl. Like, are we going to have, I don't even have any coffee jokes. I mean, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I can't even come up with something witty to say. I got nothing. It's so boring.
Well, the thing is, though, I do drink coffee. I am a coffee drinker, and you probably see that coffee mug in the background there. So, yeah, I mean, it would be fitting for me because I like to drink coffee. But yeah, I could see that you would have to have something appealing for general viewing audience, such as what we were talking about here. So,
Yeah. But I mean, I guess we'll see, man. I think it's going to be a really fun bowl game. I think I kind of felt like I got your feel for the game too. I think you think of it as kind of a coin flip type game.
yeah,
Uh, do you? I did want to ask, kind of as we come
okay,
to a close here, about how affect this Brian Smith stuff is wild, man. I mean,
right.
how much do you think it's going to affect the team? I saw his response to him being fired, and I actually found his response to be pretty compelling, to be honest with you. Um, especially, and we don't have to go into the details of that, but like, are there going to be guys that are like, they did my boy Brian Smith wrong? I don't want to play hard for this, whatever. Or are they going to be together? Or is all I mean, how much national media is Ohio getting right now? I mean, this is crazy.
Right. Uh, as far as the Brian Smith stuff goes, I'm obviously saving that for an upcoming episode, which I will cover very shortly here. Yeah, it's very unnecessary what's been going on there with that issue. And as far as the players go, and I've been really thinking about while this is all going on, I've been thinking about what are the players thinking in this, the Ohio Bobcats players. It's just a gut feeling of mine. I don't know because I'm not there, Jason, but my gut feeling is that these players are going to show up. They're going to go to the Frisco Bowl. They're going to show up. They're going to play their best. Um, and I just have to say hats off to them if they do that. And to this point, as while we're talking right now, I've been checking like the transfer portal on websites, and no Ohio Bobcats players, none of them were on the transfer portal. None of them. So maybe that's an indicator right there that they're taking this bowl game seriously. So
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, I want Ohio to be have their A game. I think it'll make for better content, for better sports viewing, and I think I definitely am predicting a slight Rebel. I think I'm predicting a slight Rebel victory. You know, a field goal at the buzzer.
yeah,
If what I remember, I don't know. Do you still feel the same way about the game as you felt on Tuesday?
yeah, I still feel like it's probably going to go down to the wire, some sort of like field goal margin kind of ending here. So yeah.
Well, I hope so. Fun games are fun.
Yeah, yep, they sure are. So, yeah, with that, we are going to have to come to a close here for this episode of Bobcat Corner, episode number 75. Once again, Jason Kelly, thank you so much for being my guest on this show. And by the way, guys, for those of you who are watching, please check out Jason Kelly's channel. He's the host of the Let's Run podcast. I will provide a link to his channel in the description box below so you guys can check out what he's talking about, UNLV and college football in general, and also college sports. So, yeah, this has been Bobcat Corner, episode number 75. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you haven't subscribed already to this channel, SV Castle, please do so. Click the notification bell so you can get updates. And we'll be back again with more content on the way soon enough. Take care, guys.